Hello everyone, welcome to the new course entitled as the Flower Morphology. So, first of all, watch an introductory video. So friends, within this video you saw the flower of the hibiscus, Rosa sinensis. Pay attention to the every part and the movement of the flower because it is the most important criteria to attend this lecture. It is showing the various parts of the flowers like the calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Okay, and also the basal portion which attached to the shoot is a pedicel. The flowers which are attached to the stalk, our lecture. So here we see the uh, botanical representation of the flower structure, green part, orange part, and some faint green parts. We are familiar with the time. So first of all, we study about the introduction and the definition of the flower. Basically, the flowers are reproductive organs of the higher plants like angiosperms. Okay, flowers are the plant organs which directly pay attention in the reproduction. Okay, in general, floral parts are organized into the four whorls. There are four whorls in the complete flower. Okay, these are entitled as the sepals, that is shown here as in the greenish part within that diagram. Okay, greenish part, sepal. Then the orange part, petals. Then the stamens, that is the male part which comprises the anther and filament. Then the carpel, which is known as the female reproductive part of the flower. Okay, now it is clear. So this arrangement is from the outermost layer to the innermost layer. Okay, so there are technical terminology for the sepals, petals, stamens and pistils. Okay, this terminology is for the sepals, calyx; for petals, corolla; for stamens, that is the male part known as the androecium; and the pistils, the unit called as the gynoecium. Okay, so now we proceed to our one by one to our parts. So first part is the calyx. You see the picture. Okay, identified correctly. It is called a brinjal. Okay, it is a fruit vegetable. We twinkling about what is the work of the brinjal in this video, because it is a fruit. We are studying about the flowers. Yes, because this portion is called the calyx. This is a persistent calyx of the brinjal, which is the peculiarity of the brinjal. Okay, family Solanaceae. It is a persistent calyx. Persistence means it is a calyx which tends to be a lifetime of the fruits after the flower is fallen on the ground. So the green and the leafy sepals forms the outermost whorl of the flower, referred to as the calyx. We are discuss about it. The calyx is a non-essential accessory part of the flower. Okay, it is non-essential because it is directly not take parts in the reproductive processes as androecium and gynoecium, but it is a accessory. Okay, because it protects the bud condition flowers from the insects, etc., and also it also prevent from the desiccation, that is the drying process of the flower. There are two terminology related to the calyx. First terminology is a polysepalous flowers. Polysepalous flowers means the sepals are free. Okay, sepals are free. And second terminology is the united flower, that is called gamosepalous flowers, means the sepals are fused. Some flowers have leaf-like structures below calyx called apicalyx. Now I proceed towards second attractive, most attractive part of the flower, that is the corolla. Common name is the petals of the flowers, which is the most important part of the flower in respect to the pollination purpose. Okay, because the insects are attract towards insect, butterflies are attracted towards the flower because of this wide variety of the colors, and that helpful in the pollination of the flower. The most colorful part of the flower is the petals from the second world. It is the second world from the outer region. Okay, it is the most colorful parts of the flower. Petals like sepals are also non-essential accessory part of the flower. Just like the sepals, petals also a non-accessory essential part because it do not play a direct role in the reproduction process. Being brightly colored, the function of the petals is attract insect and birds for pollination. Okay, we discussed earlier. Petals may be free like in a polypetalous flowers are fused like the gamopetalous flowers. There are two terminology of the polypetally and the gamopetally. Okay, polypetally means many petals. Many means petals are free from each other. And the second terminology about the corolla is the gamopetalous corolla. Means the petals are fused just like the datura metal. Okay. Now we proceed toward the male reproductive part of the flower. It is called androecium, okay, or the stamen. Within this figure, you observed about the technical terms like the anther, then the connective, then the filament. So the stamens are the male reproductive organ of the flowers. It is essential part of the flower that takes part in the sexual reproduction. Okay. Previous sepals and petals are not essential. Okay, they are accessory. But the androecium is the first essential part of the flower that actually take part in the sexual reproduction because it is a male reproductive organ of the flower. A stamen has a three parts. First one is the anther, second one is the connective and the filament. Okay, so connective is the joint between the anther and the filament. You also very well know the pollens, that is the pollen grains, are filled within the anther cavity. Okay, and if filament is the stalk-like structure, and connective is between them. That is the juncture of the anther and the filament. When the stamens are attached to the petals, they are called epipetalous. There are two terminology of the androecium. One is epi, means above petals, and second one is epiphyllous. Okay, now let's see the first terminology. When stamens are attached to the petals, they are called epipetalous. Means petals are jointed to the stamens, then it's called epipetalous. The next concept is the tepals. Sepals, petals, when both are absent, then the flower is called as a tepalous flower. Okay, there are just two parts, androecium and gynoecium. Then directly it is associated with the green leafy part, since it's called as the phylus, means epiphyllous. Now we proceed toward the next reproductive part, that is the female part, means the carpel or gynoecium. The female essential reproductive part of the flower. Okay, it is the essential reproductive part, just like the androecium. A carpel is a megasporophyll with ovals attached inside. So carpel consists of the three parts. We will see later. The actual actual position of the megasporophyll is here, that is the ovary part. Okay, ovals are set beside within the ovary. Carpel consists of three parts, that is the stigma, style and ovary. This uppermost part is called the stigma, this part is the style, and basal elongated part is called ovary. Rounded elongated part is ovary. Stigma present the top of the flower. That carpels receives the pollen grains from the male counterpart. Okay, when the pollination occurs, the bird or butterflies or bees, their feathers have some droplets of the stamens. Okay, that is the pollen grains are brushed on the behalf of the nectary. These points are here, and the pollen tube is formed, goes toward the ovary, and there is a fusion of the male and the female gametes, that is called the fertilization. Okay, the style is the filamentous hollow stalk that connects ovary and stigma. This portion is called the style. Okay, that connects to the stigma and the ovary. The ovary is the enlarged basal portion containing the female reproductive cells called ovules. This basal portion is known as the ovules, okay, or the ovary. There are two terminology related to the gynoecium. First one is apocarpus and second one is syncarpus. Now we will proceed towards the apocarpus. When the carpels, means the gynoecium, are free, then they are called as apocarpus. Okay, if the carpel is free, then it's called apocarpus. If the carpels are fused, then they are called syncarpus. Okay, means carpels are united, then they are called syncarpus. Now we proceed towards the floral parts arrangements. Here are, you observe the two flowers. First one is Hibiscus rosa sinensis, that is the jasmine, and second flower is about the papaya. Okay, so floral parts arrangement, there is a terminology. A complete flower has all its four parts. Okay, there are two terminology: complete flower and incomplete flowers. Complete flower has the all four parts, like the androecium, gynoecium, okay, petals, sepals. All four parts are present, then the flower is called complete flower, just like the hibiscus. An incomplete flower may lack one or more of the four parts of the flowers. Okay, some flowers are lack one or more parts, then this called the incomplete flower. If the sepals and petals are absent, then the flower is called tepalous flowers. Now we proceed to the sexuality of the flowers. When the both sexual reproductive organs, that is the male androecium and the female gynoecium, are present in the same flower, it is called the bisexual flower. Okay, when the both male and female parts, that is androecium and the gynoecium, are present on the same flower, it is called the bisexual flower. It is a basic funda. So it is a flower has only androecium or gynoecium, then it is called unisexual flower. Okay, if the flower consists of the only androecium, then it is called the staminate flower. If the flower is consist of the only gynoecium, then it is called the pistillate flower. And overall terminology is the unisexual flower. Uni means only one sex on the each flower. Now we proceed toward the next terminology. In a monoecious plant, Both the male and female unisexual flowers are present on the same plants. Okay, monoecious. Mono means single. So both the male and the female unisexual flowers are present on the same plant. Then the terminology is called monoecious flowers. Okay. Then the terminology is the dioecious flowers. Dioecious means two separate plants. In a dioecious plant, the male and the female flowers are present in a separate plants. Means male plant is separate and the female plant is separate. That is called the dioecious flower or dioecious plant. If a plant has a bisexual, unisexual and neutral flowers on the same plant, then it is called the polygamous. Okay, poly means many gametes on the single plant. Okay, on the same plant. There are three types: bisexual, unisexual and neutral flowers. Okay, means the sterile flowers. Don't confuse about it. Neutral flowers. These are the sterile flowers. Now we proceed towards the flower symmetry. Flower symmetry. It is a basic structure. So here we see the two types: actinomorphic and the zygomorphic. So flower symmetry divided into two parts. First one is the actinomorphic flower and second is the zygomorphic flower. Within the actinomorphic flower, the sepals and petals are of similar size and shape and they are divisible into equal halves along more than one plane. Okay. If you cut the flower in any angle of flower, then the exact replica is on the another side. If you place a flower cut If you cut the flower between these lines and place in front of the mirror, then the exact copy of that cut portion is there. It is called the actinomorphic flower, equal halves presentation. Then the zygomorphic flower. Zygomorphic flowers are the sepals and petals are dissimilar in shape and the flower is divisible into equal halves only on one plane. Just like you see the flowers of the clitoria, that is known as the gokarna. Okay, that is a zygomorphic flower because one or equal plane there is no separation of the flowers. Now we proceed toward the estivation. First of all, the definition of the estivation: the mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in a flower with respect to other members of the same whorl is referred as a estivation. Means the arrangement of the sepals and the petals in the flower with respect to the other members. Okay, if there are 5 petals or 5 sepals and they what manner they are arranged their each other positions is called as the estivation. There are basically 4 types. First one is the velvet estivation. This one is the velvet estivation. Okay, within this, the flowers of the floral leaves involved may just touch one another at each margins without overlapping. Here we see there is a no overlapping. Just touch to the margins. It is called the velvet estivation. Okay. Next is the imbricate estivation. This is the imbricate estivation. The flowers, the petals are not in one whorl. Okay, here we see some part is outer position and some part petals are in the inner position. The margins of the petals do not overlap in any particular order. Here is you see the no overlapping between any petals. Okay, it is called the imbricate estivation. Next in is a estivation type is a quinquecial. This is the quinquisial type of the excavation. If the floral leaves are spirally arranged instead of being in a whorl, then they are called the quinquisial. Okay, this arrangement is called as a spiral arrangement. You know the spirality. Okay. So next arrangement is the most famous, that is the papillonaceous or the vexillary arrangement or the papillonaceous corolla. This is most famous in the Vigna radiata, Vigna mungo. Okay. Now we proceed toward the last section of our lecture. There are position of a ovary. We see the ovary is the unit of the carpel, that is the style stigma ovary. The basal portion is the ovary. So there are the three types of the ovary. The hypogynous flower of the ovary is superior, and the remaining floral organs, that is the sepals, petals and stamens, arise from below the point of the origin of the carpel. Okay, that is called the hypogynous. Here the hypogynous flower of the ovary is superior. Ovary is superior. Superior means above the other floral whorls. Other floral whorls which are androecium, sepals, petals, and the ovary is above there. That is called the hypogynous ovary. Then the perigynous. Peri means around. Okay. In a perigynous ovary, the sepal, petal and stamens are fused to cup around the ovary. Is called hypanthium. This is the ovary and these are the sepals, petals, okay, and the androecium. They form a cup around the ovary. That is called the perigynous. Just like the ears on the face. If this is the face of the human, this is the periphery. Okay, that is the perigynous flowers. Next is the epigynous flower. Epi means above. Okay, if the or other floral whorls, that is the stamens, calyx and corolla, are above the carpel, then it is called the inferior ovary or epigynous flowers. Okay, this is the superior ovary, that is the hypogynous. Superior ovary, inferior ovary. Thank you for watching the lecture.